Hello everyone. Today we shall take up Unit C of Paper 1, which is grammar. And in grammar, you have two things in your syllabus: basic sentence pattern and clauses. So today we will be discussing the basic sentence pattern. Now, sentence, as you all know, is a group of words which expresses a complete thought. That is, a sentence is a group of words which convey a meaning. And these group of words, they are placed in an order. Now, basic sentence. Basic here means the shortest possible grammatical structure which conveys a meaning. So when we talk about the basic sentence pattern, now we are talking about those sentences which have certain characteristics. That is, if we talk about the characteristics of basic sentence, then a basic sentence should be affirmative. That is, it should be in the form of a statement, not a negative or a question. Then, a basic sentence should be in active voice and not in the passive voice. And the basic sentence should have only one finite verb. That is, it should be a simple sentence, not a complex one. So these are the characteristics of a basic sentence. Okay. Before we discuss the different patterns of basic sentence, let us go through the important parts of a basic sentence. So the most important part of a sentence would be the subject. The subject is the doer of action, and it may be a noun, a pronoun, a noun phrase, or a pronoun phrase. Now the subject in a sentence, it is expressed by the letter S. Then we have the predicate or the verb, that is, it is a finite verb used normally with a subject and a tense. It may be transitive or intransitive, be type or become type, has or have type. Now, intransitive verb, they do not need a direct object and can stand alone. And transitive verb, they pass their action to a noun called the direct object. And the predicate or the verb in a basic sentence is expressed by P or V. Then the object. Now object is the receiver of the action, of the transitive verb. That is, we know that the transitive verb, it is followed by an object, and this object can be a noun, a pronoun, a noun phrase, or a pronoun phrase, just like the subject. That is, the object, it may be a noun, pronoun, noun phrase, or a pronoun phrase, and it is expressed by the letter O. Now, in a sentence, you may have two types of object, that is the indirect object and the direct object. Now, the indirect object, it precedes the direct object and it is full of life. So, the indirect object, it is expressed by IO, and the direct object, it is expressed by DO. Then we come to complement. Now, complement, it may be an adjective or adjective phrase. An adjective or an adjective phrase becomes the complement in a basic sentence. Now this is expressed by the letter C. When the complement or when that adjective is for the subject, then it becomes the subject complement and it is expressed through SC. And when the complement is for the object, when it follows the object, then it is expressed as OC. And then comes the adjunct or the adverbial. It may either be a single word adverb or an adverb phrase, and it is represented by the letter A. So these are the parts of a basic sentence, and on the basis of these parts only, the various patterns of basic sentence have been formed. So when we talk about the basic sentence pattern, then we can say that there are 7 basic sentence pattern in English grammar. Now, these 7 basic sentence pattern are listed here. The first one is subject plus verb. That is subject plus the intransitive verb. For example, it can be dogs bark, birds fly. So this is the first basic sentence pattern. That is, you have the subject plus the verb, the doer of the action and the verb. Now here we have used the letter V for verb, but it can also, the letter P can also be used instead of V. Now next we have S plus V plus O. That is, there is a subject, then there is verb, and then there is the object. For example, he killed a snake. Now in the sentence, he killed a snake, he is the subject, the verb here is killed, and a snake is the object. So here we have the verb killed, which is a transitive verb, which is followed by an object. Now the next example of the basic sentence pattern is S plus V plus SC. That is, you have the subject verb and the subject complement. For example, Jatin is a doctor. Jatin is a doctor. Now the word a doctor. Doctor is an adjective here, and this adjective is used for the noun, that is Jatin. So here we have the pattern S plus V plus subject complement SC. Then S plus V plus IO plus DO. IO is the indirect object and DO is the direct object. For example, Mr. Sen taught us physics. Now Mr. Sen taught us physics. In this sentence, you have got a subject, that is Mr. Sen. Then you have the verb, that is taught, and then you have two objects, us and physics. Now us is the indirect object and physics is the direct object. So you have got two objects in this sentence pattern, and the indirect object, that is us, is preceded by the direct object, that is physics. The next pattern is S plus V plus O plus OC. That is subject plus verb plus object complement. For example, we can say they elected him president. They elected him president. Now they is the subject, they is the pronoun which is the subject. Then you have the verb elected. Him is object and president is object complement. Now president here is adjective which is used for the object, that is him. It is qualifying the object him. Therefore it becomes the object complement. So they elected him president. In this sentence we see that they is the subject, elected is the verb, him is the object, and president is object complement. Now next pattern, you have the subject plus the verb plus the adverbial, which is represented by the letter A. For example, the fruits are in the basket. The fruits are in the basket. Now the fruits are the subject, are is the verb which connects the subject to the adverbial, and in the basket is the adverbial phrase. It is the adverbial phrase and it is represented by the letter A. Then we have the seventh basic pattern, that is S plus V plus O plus A. That is, in this sentence you have the object and which is followed by the adverbial, that is A. For example, he left the clothes in the box. He left the clothes in the box. Now he, which is the pronoun, it acts as a subject in this sentence. Left is the verb. The clothes, that is the noun, and the clothes, they act as the object here. He left the clothes where? In the box. So in the box is the adverbial. It is the adverbial phrase. S plus V plus O plus A. He left the clothes in the box. He left the clothes in the box. So when we look at the pattern, it is S plus V plus O plus A. So these are the 7 basic sentence pattern in English, and you'll be getting exercises in your question papers. So you should practice a lot. In our next presentation, we will be discussing all these 7 basic sentence patterns in detail. Thank you.